Hey everybody, Joe here, and welcome back to 360 Comics. No, I did not shrink. I am just sitting next to a ginormous Treasury Edition comic book. I picked up a bunch of these in a collection that I just bought, which prompted me to do a little bit of research into them because, honestly, I didn't know too much about them and I wanted to learn more. So I'm going to share that information with you today, and we're going to go through my haul from that collection as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up for a like, and leave a comment down below. Doing such enters you to win this copy of Alpha Flight number 1, part of our 1,200 subscriber giveaway here on YouTube. And go check out our other videos as well. You can give them a thumbs up and a comment to get additional entries as well and maximize your chance of winning. Also, follow us on Instagram because this week I'm announcing our 6,000 follower giveaway over there. You don't want to miss out. All right, now back to the topic at hand. We're talking about Treasury-sized comic books here today, and as you can see, they are much, much bigger than a standard comic book. I've got a book from the Silver Age here, which are a little bit bigger than current books, at least width-wise, and we got Daredevil dating back to the late 60s, and you can see it is significantly smaller, and even compared to a magazine-sized comic book, which are known to be much bigger than regular comic books, it still is not even close to this Treasury Edition book. One thing that I noticed pretty cool that is if you put a regular comic book on its side, the width of the Treasury Edition is the exact same as the height of this book, and the height of the Treasury Edition is twice the width. So you can kind of fit two copies of this book laying on top of the cover, and they'll match up. I assume that it probably has to do with the printing process as to why it is exactly twice the size of a regular comic book. Anyway, let's talk about the history a little bit. DC did it before Marvel. Looks like 1972. I couldn't find information about other publishers that may have done it before. I assume there probably were some. I don't think DC started the whole thing, but 1972 to 1978, DC was putting out various Treasury editions. Some of them were reprints of really popular, impossible to get Golden Age books. Others were reprinted stories that were more recent stories that they compiled together in order to, I guess, expose a new audience, sell a new product, just do something different, you know, shake up the market a little bit. Marvel joined a couple years later, whereas DC started in 72. Marvel started in 1974, and they actually carried on a little bit farther into the 80s, ending in 1981, and they went a different route, and we're going to talk about that because I have a bunch here from both DC and Marvel, and you can kind of tell the difference between the two as far as kind of why they were doing it and what they were trying to accomplish. So right here, the first one up, we've got The Astonishing Spider-Man. This is Treasury Edition number 18, and this doesn't mean that there necessarily were 18 Spider-Man ones. There were a bunch of different titles, all in the Treasury Edition run. This was the 18th book of that run, and it features Spider-Man, not only Spider-Man, but a lot of other characters, because it specifically reprints Marvel team-up issues with Spider-Man. So it's, you know, for those of you who don't know, the team up pairs up two different characters or two different groups of characters. So this one has a reprint of a Spider-Man Ghost Rider team up, a Spider-Man X-Men team up, a Spider-Man Werewolf by Night team up, and a Spider-Man Iron Fist team up. And you can see all of those characters are depicted on the cover. I forget exactly which Marvel team up issues are in here, but they picked up 4 of them and they put them together in this comic book. So, you know, by picking this up, a reader basically gets a reprinted version of 4 different books. Maybe they're a big Spider-Man fan and they kind of want to explore some other characters. This is a great way to do it. Probably was a great way to get people interested in those other characters by, you know, featuring Spider-Man, the most popular Marvel character, alongside these others. Next up, we've got Conan the Barbarian. Now, Conan was really popular in magazine form. There was the Savage Sword of Conan, which I have people on a regular basis ask me if I have any. And this was Conan the Barbarian. This was number 23 from that Marvel Special Edition. And this is the apparently it says first time in color, and I think that's because Savage Sword of Conan was a black and white magazine, and this Conan the Barbarian reprints multiple stories from Savage Sword of Conan. So I think that they colorized it, and that was kind of the big upgrade here in order for them to sell a bunch more. The collection that I bought not only had one of these Conan books, but two. Kind of cool. Next up, we've got this one. I expect to be a little bit more hot and better selling than other things. We've got Marvel Special Edition Star Wars, and Star Wars big boom right now due to last year's success of The Mandalorian. Now we've got Book of Boba coming out. A lot of speculation in the comic market as far as Star Wars goes, especially Dr. Aphra, and people are really liking the current High Republic run as well. But yeah, this Marvel Special Edition, this reprints issues 1, 2, and 3 of Marvel's Star Wars run. So if you missed out on those 3, you could pick up this one kind of as an anthology, as almost like a trade paperback. You pay a little bit extra, but you get 3 issues here, and you get it in this giant size form. There was a second book that reprinted issues 4, 5, and 6. So you could kind of get the whole first 6 issues by just buying 2 of these Treasury editions. And then I think there was one a little bit later that had all 6 of the first Star Wars issues all in one bigger Treasury edition. Like I said, Star Wars definitely hot right now. This copy, unfortunately, it's gunked up and pretty beat up, as are most of these. Most of these are mid-grade or lower. But yeah, there's still definitely a market for them. I looked on eBay, and we'll talk about prices at the end. I'm going to put these down because these are bigger and heavier, and I don't want to have them fall over. Next up, we got, in addition to Star Wars, Marvel was promoting some other sci-fi stuff, and I think that's really what took them into the 80s, was the popularity of Star Wars increasing the sci-fi market. We got Battlestar Galactica here. Again, this is a based on the television show, not necessarily the movie, but a sci-fi, space adventure at that. And there's a second copy as well. And these, I believe, also, I don't think these reprinted the Battlestar Galactica comics that Marvel put out. I think these actually went along more with the show. I might be wrong about that. I haven't read any of them, and I'm not super familiar with Battlestar Galactica as is. This next one is a Marvel Special Edition. These are a little bit different than the Marvel Treasury editions. There's different groups of them. They're all the same size, but yeah, this is one of the special editions. This is Close Encounter of the Third Kind, and this reprints the Marvel adaptation of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Again, a sci-fi thing that was going on late 70s, early 80s, whatever, and just something that I think they were trying to expand their market a little bit and promote these movies, shows, their comic runs, all that stuff. Next, we got this one. I've heard about this character, I think probably from my parents, who probably grew up with this show. And my dad definitely was into sci-fi as a kid, so I think this is more up his alley. I know nothing about Buck Rogers, to be honest. I think it was a television show, if I'm correct. But again, Marvel got the rights to this. They put this out, and you can see these are, it's a photo cover. It's not drawn. It's pictures, and I believe those are probably the cast members of the show. So this was done in conjunction to promote the television show, kind of as a joint effort. I don't remember there being a Buck Rogers comic run in Marvel. Not that I can think of. So I think this was more of a partnership or promotion. We got one more Marvel book before we move on to the DC stuff, and this one's pretty interesting. We got Christmas with the Superheroes. Now this, this isn't Marvel. This is DC. Sorry, we're on to DC now. I apologize about that. I thought this was a Marvel Christmas edition because I looked it up, and there is a Marvel Christmas edition. This one takes a bunch of stories from DC and puts them together. They've got a Christmas theme, all that stuff. Again, this was a marketing thing. they want to sell copies. It's the holidays. Oh, Christmas edition, I'll pick this up for my kid or my friend or my spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, whoever wants comics and is into that stuff. Nice little, Christmas gift, stocking stuffer kind of thing. Kind of cheesy in my opinion, but hey, it is what it is. Moving on to this next group of DC books, we've got some reprints of classic Golden Age stuff. The Golden Age stuff that is impossible to get your hands on. I'm talking about the first appearance of Joker and first appearance of Catwoman in Batman #1. You can't get that book. No one can get that book. It's expensive as anything, even in a super low grade, but you can get reprints. Maybe you want a giant size reprint like this to be able to put on display or look at like really blown up pictures of the artwork that's in there. Whatever you want. This is pretty cool. It's Batman #1. It's one of the most important comics of all time. Coming from that same late 30s, early 40s era, we got Sensation Comics #1 as well. This was the second appearance and origin of Wonder Woman. She's right on the front. And again, it's one of these famous first editions, reprinting of the most sought after DC keys. And these came out, like I said, DC was doing this in the 70s. Even back in the 70s, people knew these books were special. They were still expensive at that point. Obviously, nothing like they are today, reaching into the millions sometimes. But people wanted these books. They wanted to reread the original stories of the characters that they were reading at the time. Again, another Wonder Woman book. We got Wonder Woman #1. This is our first solo book as well as an origin story. And I love the artwork on this cover. Super awesome. I think it's way better than the earlier Wonder Woman art that we see. I'm going to take these ones down real quick and move on to an awesome book. And this is probably my favorite out of the DC reprints, just because I think they did a great job with the cover. The blue really contrasts with the Flash's yellow and red logo and shirt and everything. We got the Flash #1. Now, this is the Golden Age Flash, the original one. This is, before that Silver Age Flash that really is more what people know. He's got this dumb hat. In my opinion, it's dumb. I think it looks silly, but it is what it is. Flash Comics #1, obviously a very, very expensive book. First appearance and origin of Flash. First appearance and origin of Hawkman. I believe first appearance of Hawkgirl, but I don't think she's Hawkgirl yet. I forget her name. A bunch of other characters. Their first appearance is in this book. And like I said, awesome cover. Golden Age stuff that's unobtainable otherwise. Then we got All-Star Comics #3, taking that Flash character along with Hawkman and a bunch of other characters. I don't remember who. Spectre. I forget who else. And they created the Justice Society of America, one of the first superhero teams ever. This was All-Star Comics #3. And this, again, major key that is unobtainable. So these reprints are a great way to, sell a copy. This last one's really weird. We got the Bible. We got the Bible. Now, apparently what this is, I didn't bother reading it, but they took stories from the Bible and they kind of retold them. They weren't taking exact Bible passages or anything like that, but they kind of dramatized different parts of the Bible to, make a story out of it. I don't know what connection. I don't know how they came across the idea of doing this, if this was like a partnership with a religious group or something. I couldn't really find any information on it, but I mean, I guess the Bible's like public domain, so why not? I guess they could do that for free, take stories that were already written and just retell them. I guess that's the case. Anyway, I'm going to leave the Flash book up here because, like I said, I love how this one looks. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about, kind of what I did with these. They weren't bagged and boarded, and as you can see, they are now. I didn't even know these existed because I've seen these Treasury editions everywhere, but I've never really paid much attention to them because that's not something that I personally collect. Some people love these things. I've had a bunch of people ask me about these in the past, and I've never had them before, but now I have them, and I can say, yeah, I've got some. Check them out. But BCW, they make Treasury size bags and boards. And it's actually nice. They come with the bag and the board together. A little bit easier, already made for you. You don't have to buy a bag and a board. They come in packs of 25. Unfortunately, my LCS had them at the pre-pandemic price because they hadn't ordered any. I guess these don't sell very often. They hadn't ordered any in a while, so these were still affordable with the rising prices of bags and boards, which was nice. I got a pack for a decent price, and I put them in there. Like I said, these are mid to low grade, but if I'm going to be selling these, I want them to look nice. I want to be bagged and boarded up. Typically online, I was looking, and there's a big range between how much these go for. Really, I think the minimum, like lower grade copies of the less coveted ones look like they're going for about $10. As you go up in popularity and you go up in condition, some are hitting 15, 20, 30, 50. I saw some going for close to and even a little bit over $100 if they were in nice shape. Now, what I assume is these were really hard to keep in nice shape because they were so big. They were cumbersome to store. They would bump into things. If you're walking around with them, it's a lot easier to hold a comic book tight to you than one of these things. If you turn the wrong way, you might knock into a wall or bump something on a table. So I assume these probably got damaged easily, and higher grade copies are really hard to find. That being said, all of these mid to low grade, I'm probably going to price them between 10 and 20 bucks, depending on, how popular. This Star Wars one, for example, I'm going to put that at $20. We'll see if it sells. I don't know what the market is like for these, but I'm going to have them available. The Bible and, maybe some of the Close Encounters one or the Buck Rogers one. Those, I don't really see a big market for them. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm probably going to put those at $10 and see where they go from there. Like I said, eBay, most of them are selling between $10 and $30, but the higher grades and more popular ones, otherwise. So yeah, it seems like the vast majority of the stuff is reprints of stories, sometimes classic stories, sometimes just popular characters, and I think they were used as like a marketing tool to get people into things. Obviously, it didn't do too well because DC did it for 6 years and pulled the plug. Marvel did it for 7 and then pulled the plug, and they haven't made these since the 1980s, the very early 80s. So I don't think it really worked. I don't think it caught on. It wasn't something that was super popular, but you never know. Sometimes these trends, they're cyclical. They might come back again. Who knows? We're seeing a lot of magazine-sized stuff now. We've got, Last Ronin came out, and there's that Catwoman run right now, and there's the Robin and Batman run. Those are all magazine size. We had Batman Damn, 2 years ago. So that stuff, DC seems to be doing more magazine size stuff now. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys learned something from this. I definitely did in doing research, and I feel a little bit more kind of secure on what I'm looking at here. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about these things. Are you someone that collects these Treasury size comic books, or are they something that doesn't interest you? There's obviously pros and cons. They look pretty cool, but they take up a lot of space. That being said, thanks for watching as always, and until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.